know, I might be interested in going into business, but I also really like studying English and history, and I think I probably want to be within driving distance, but I'd love to know what New England has to offer, because I have grandparents who live up there, and that'd be fun to check that out. And as far as price, you know, we're not, you know, my parents can't afford anything, but I know that there's schools out there that have good financial aid programs. I know that there's good scholarship programs, and this program can help you with that too. So they're fairly open.
So this college's database, is this a pulling from a national database?
Which one?
All this college, all the information on all the colleges.
Yes. Well, it's pulling from two places. For instance, this list. Let's look at American University up in DC. We've created this list that you all have access to, and we'll get back to it and show the other information that's on here. But let's say your counselor has thrown out Boston College. And you've heard of Boston College. You know it's got played in the ACC. You may be, you know somebody who's gone. We don't know a heck of a lot about Boston College. Let's learn more. Click on Boston College. You will have information coming from your high school. All right. For instance, at Boston College, over the last few years, the average, and we're talking about inflated GPAs, the average kid getting accepted at Boston College was a 4.27. The average SAT score getting accepted to Boston College was a 1455, and that's out of 1600, so that's just the first two sections of the SAT. And notice how compared to poor little Mary Charger, who has a 4.1 at Providence Day, and 1220 so far in her SAT, these numbers are showing up in red. That doesn't mean she can't go there, but it's just saying that the numbers are a little bit lower. If we go here, now let's go look on, I want to get to, we also have general Boston College data, not just Providence Day-based college data. So here we're getting, this is not based on your particular school, but on Boston College in general. How many kids applied, what percent were accepted, how many are enrolled there, or of this particular freshman. So just in the last freshman class, it's telling you that almost 33,000 applied, 9,200 were accepted. Of those accepted, 2,200 elected to go, so a 28% acceptance rate. These are their numbers from across the country of highs and lows and average for SAT and ACT scores, things like that. You can also go straight to, we go back to this original page. On any one of these, you just click this little icon and go straight to the school's website. So I just said the University of Georgia, and that will go to the UGA website so you can explore it that way. All right. A couple other little things over here. This is really helpful, both early, middle, and late in the process, that you don't have to search through books or through the website for an email contact with admissions. If you or your student had a quick question for High Point, it's going right to High Point admissions. Really easy. Here though, and so notice the other things here. This tells you, one, how your student is going to apply when it is time. All of these except electronic applications, which is basically the rule now. Even 10 years ago, it was probably 2% of all applications were being sent in, online. Now it's the opposite. Now it's 98%. In fact, more and more, colleges not even accepting paper applications at all. In fact, starting with next year, the Common Application, which is the application that serves now about 500 schools. In fact, most private schools that you know of, certainly selective ones, and more and more public schools are all in this thing called the Common Application. Well, as of next year, the Common Application has no more paper application. It doesn't exist. You have to apply online. So all of these show you, this is online applications. If it says CA, I don't know if you can see that back there, with a little red CA, that means it's a Common Application school. So our private schools on there in general, American and BC and Cornell and Furman and Richmond and Vanderbilt, Villanova, all Common App. Here we have, notice Chapel Hill, even though it's public, that is on the Common App. Ohio State just joined the Common App. University of Tennessee joined the Common App. So more and more publics are doing it. But this is more for senior year when it's, all right, how's my kid going to apply? This column obviously tells you who put this school on the list. You know, and actually, I did this one fake, but clearly a list that is too counselor driven, unless the counselor just happened to be the one to put it on there after a discussion with the family, probably isn't good. It's obviously going to be a much more a list much more focused to the actual family if we have the student, if we have the parent putting schools on here. Maybe the parent hasn't put schools on there because the parent checked and said, yeah, all the schools that I'm interested in are already on there, so didn't find the need to do that. Next, this is from the counselor, expected difficulty. And Family Connection actually gives 5 categories that the counselor can rate these schools based on your kid. Their opinion, so again, more art than science probably, but their opinion based on the SAT and GPA and the activities that the kid is in, and maybe, you know, if this kid's going to be the starting point guard at Chapel Hill, even if their grades aren't that good, they might put it in as likely. But I usually will base my things on the academic side, especially when there's, you know, if there's great athletic or arts talent. I figure the coaches know better than I do. Sorry. Well, we rated these schools, the counselor has. There's actually 5 categories. I usually use 3, the 3 in the middle. The ones that I think the student's going to get into, I'll put likely. And those aren't, of course, guarantees, but I certainly work this way, and most counselors, I'm sure, do. If we're going to make a mistake, we're going to make it on the conservative side. It doesn't do anybody any good to in the junior year be just wildly enthusiastic about your student's chances at, you know, Chapel Hill or whatever school we're talking about, if it's really much more iffy than that. So when I put likely on a school, it means, you know, unless something strange happens, this kid's getting in. All right? Possible is a pretty big category. Possible is going to be, you know, maybe anywhere from the 30% possibility to the 75% possibility. You know, this really could happen for the student, but you still need a couple more likelies on that list to make sure that it does happen. And then the reaches, they certainly don't mean out of reach, but of course they could. I mean, we don't ever tell a student, don't apply there, you're not going to get in there. We are surprised every year, and it would be, you know, I think kind of damaging to the kids. Maybe, you know, we're honest, but we're not in the business of crushing dreams before they even have a chance to make an attempt. You know, and we have kids certainly, and families and parents who feel, yes, I know that Georgetown is a long shot for my student, but wow, you get to go through this process once, why not give it a try? You know, there are some really outstanding qualities that this student brings to the table that could absolutely work in certain situations. And 2, we're talking about a kid in junior year. We probably don't even have SAT scores yet. Maybe these might be based on PSAT scores. So if the kid, you know, hauls off and gets 750s and 780s on everything, could absolutely change the category. The student has also given, this is optional, but it helps the counselor and the parents certainly, given how interested they are in the school. You can see that University of Richmond up in Virginia is the student's first choice at this time. Others they have varying degrees of interest in.